I asked AI to replace me as a security researcher. It made me faster. Yes, you heard it right. I asked AI to replace me as a security researcher. It made me faster. For a month, I let AI write code, summarize CVEs, review reports, and think through security problem before I did. The results weren't what LinkedIn promised, and they weren't what AI skeptics expected either. Every few days, someone on the internet declares that other profession is officially dead. First, it was graphic designer, then software engineer, then technical writer. Now it's art done. If you've spent 5 minutes on LinkedIn recently, you have the exact same post formatted 10 different ways. A founder proudly announces that their new AI agent can execute an entire penetration test autonomously. A hot new startup claims they have built a synergic SOC agent that never sleeps. Someone posts a screenshot of ChatGPT finding de- deliberate textbook SQL injection in a vulnerable by design app, concluding all caps that security engineers won't exist. Junior security engineers won't exist by next year. At this point, I can predict the comment section without scrolling. The techno evangelist. AI will take 90% of the security jobs in 3 years. Adapt or die. Skeptic. AI is just fancy, automatic, or fancy autocomplete. It can't even write a clean Python. The founder. I haven't written a single line of code or read a RFC in 6 months. Notice what's missing. Nobody in those thread is talking about what security researchers actually do all day. While the internet was busy having the existential crisis, my day-to-day work hadn't magically disappeared. It's still waking up dense documentation, complex CV disclosure, bug reports that made no sense, and applications with unique business logic that no off-the-shield model could possibly understand. My inbox wasn't full of philosophical questions about artificial general intelligence. It was full of practical questions about actual security problems. Who I am? If this is the first article of mine you've stumbled across, welcome. I'm Satyam Patiria. You might know me as well as Oh Diddy. I'm self-taught cybersecurity researcher, ethical hacker, technical writer, builder based in Jammu, India. I didn't come from fancy Ivy League degree or traditional corporate pipeline. Almost everything I know came from breaking things, fixing things, digging into hardware like Strix-C and Raspberry Pi, reading documentation that made zero sense on the first pass, and publicly writing down every single lesson along the way. Over the past few years, that habit documented my journey, building community of thousands of hackers, opened doors to speak at security events, led to organizing B sites Jammu, and allowing me to collaborate with some incredible security platforms worldwide. If there is one thing this journey taught me, that it is cybersecurity industry rewards people who can think clearly just as much as it rewards people who can write exploits. The core mindset became the foundation of this experiment. The experiment, 30-day AI first security. I decided to stop reading hot takes and run a real test on myself. First 30 days, every single task that hit my desk went through AI before it touched my brain. The new CV drop, AI summarizes the adversary first. You need a quick Python script for testing. AI explains architecture before I open official docs. Writing a client report or write up, AI drafts the initial structure. I didn't do this to prove AI was revolutionary. I didn't do it to prove it was overhyped. I wanted to answer one basic question. What actually happens when security researchers stop arguing about AI and start hacking along it? Technology rarely replaces overnight. Okay. I didn't do this to prove AI was revolutionary. I didn't do it to prove it was overhyped. I just wanted to answer one basic question. What actually happens when a security researcher stop arguing with AI about AI and starts acting along with this? Technology rarely replaces people overnight. More often it changes what good people spend their time doing. The first week was almost unfair. I'll admit something. Many security folks hesitate to say publicly. AI impressed me almost immediately. Not because it discovered some mind bending zero day, but not because it magically mapped over complex multi stage attack chains. It impressed me because it completely destroyed the friction in my daily workflow. Security research isn't 100% action movie hacking. Imagine, uh, people imagine researchers spending every hour reverse engineering binary or popping shells. The reality, mass chunk of the job is administrative, heavy lifting, reading RFCs, comparing documentation across multi cloud vendors, parsing release notes, cleaning up ugly scripts, organizing raw notes into clean write-ups. Those tasks don't require genius; they require patience. AI turned out to be elite cheat code for reducing that patient tax. One afternoon, I needed to access a cloud service I had never touched before. Normally, my workflow would look like this: open 15 browser tabs, skim official docs, search Reddit for real world food guns, and slowly build a mental map over 2 hours. Instead, I was asking AI to break down the core achievements, core architecture first. Within 30 seconds, I had the eye level overview. Was it perfect? No, but it gave me enough context when I finally opened the official documentation. I wasn't at the wall of text like beginner. I was reading with target questions already in mind. It didn't replace the learning process. It accelerated the start of it. Where the marketing starts falling apart. By week two, a very obvious pattern emerged. When AI blew me away, I was handling information that already existed somewhere on the web. I was already handling existing uh, handling information that already existed somewhere on the summarizing a known RFC flawless, explaining what 2.0 flows easy, writing boilerplate scrappy or request code done in seconds, formatting raw findings into Markdown beautiful. That's insanely valuable. But notice what those tasks have in common. They rely on pattern recognition of existing knowledge. Real security research doesn't. The most critical vulnerability don't live in textbooks. They happen in the edge cases where a developer misconfigures a subtle permission, a API handles state differently than documented, on a weird business logic flaw, creates an unintended path that automated scanners were never programmed to look for. Those aren't pattern recognition problem; they are judgment problem. The most dangerous thing AI did wasn't being wrong. It sounded completely undeniably right. One day I had AI review a technical breakdown I wrote covering a complex authentication workflow. The response looked amazing. It cleaned up my formatting, polished the sentence structure, and made the whole thing read like a high-end tech publication. Honestly, it looked better than my original draft. It was 2 seconds away from copyright, but copying it straight into my final notes, but then paused and read it line by line. Deep inside, that beautifully written confidence bronze was tiny, subtle assumption about how session tokens were validated. To an untrained reader or Rust engineer, it sounds completely logical, but in the real world, that single false assumption inverted the security boundary of entire system. The structure was real, the grammar is flawless, the conclusion was dead wrong. That was a turning point of my experiment. AI didn't fail because it was dumb. Humans make mistake all the time. It failed because it made a critical error with complete unshakable confidence. Yeah, in offensive security, unverified confidence is how vulnerabilities get missed and system gets compromised. Curiosity doesn't come from training data. AI doesn't look at applications with natural paranoia. It does look at the endpoint and think, wait, why did the server respond like that? It simply predicts what internet has previously said about similar inputs. Most real world bugs aren't found because a researcher memorized OS Prop 10 or read 500 CVs. They are found because someone got curious about a weird detail everyone else ignored. Someone clicked a button twice during a network latency. Someone changed an integer to a float just to see what could happen. Someone wondered why a checkout flow behaved differently on mobile than desktop. AI was trained on how software is supposed to work. Attackers spend their lives discovering how software actually works. Asking if AI will replace security researchers is like asking if Google replaced private investigators. Search engines gave us access to some of human knowledge, but they never replaced human ability to ask the right uncomfortable questions. AI is following the same exact path. It drastically shrinks time to make digest information clear, repetitive boilerplate and organize your thoughts. What it can't do is what training data cannot teach. What training data cannot teach it is the wake up with a gut feeling that the system isn't telling the whole truth. Curiosity doesn't come from training data; it comes from us. Work with me and support my content. Thank you. See you in the next one.